And welcome to another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I am your host, YuGiOh. Today is April 21st, 2019. Got a lot of really cool stories to cover this week, plus a couple of promotions from other shows that I've been listening to. So stay tuned for those. Well, let's get right down to it, shall we? In YuGiOh news, new YuGiOh Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution screenshots released on Twitter. With YuGiOh Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution coming in just a few weeks, at least in Japan, some brand new screenshots have been released. At the end of the month, duelists in Japan, or duelists around the world who own a Japanese eShop account, will be able to get their hands on the next YuGiOh game, Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. To celebrate its release, the game's official Twitter account has been releasing images from the game, which depict new scenes and duelists that weren't present in the PS4 and Xbox One versions. The screenshots give us a good idea as to how much the game has changed from one version to the other. For example, we get our first look at the new 3D model for number 39 Utopia, as well as a duel between Blue Angel and the game's AI, and Jaden vs. Artorias. None of these screenshots should be shocking for anyone who's kept up with the game. However, it's nice to get new screenshots considering the American version won't be coming until this summer. You can check out a small gallery of the images on the article from Duel Shockers. In other Link Evolution news, the game's now been officially rated T for Teen, which is the first time ever that a YuGiOh game has gotten that rating. Beyond that, a few weeks back, it was revealed that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game would not be receiving an update to bring it up to date with the Switch version. YuGiOh Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution is coming to Nintendo Switch in Japan on April 25th, 2019. As stated previously, Western audiences will have to wait a bit longer as it's not arriving here until the summer. That's pretty much all we have for YuGiOh news this week. On to the next segment. In gaming news, Ubisoft donates 500,000 euros to help restore Notre Dame, gives away Assassin's Creed Unity for free. Following the shocking events in Paris on Monday that saw the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral sustain devastating fire damage, Ubisoft has pledged to donate 500,000 euros to help with the restoration and reconstruction of the historic landmark. 2014's Assassin's Creed Unity is set in Paris and includes a faithful reproduction of the famous cathedral. You can take a look at Unity's Notre Dame in the original E3 announcement trailer available on PC Gamer's website. Talking about the creation of Unity, Ubisoft said, "We developed an even closer connection with this incredible city and its landmarks. One of the most notable elements of the game was the extraordinary recreation of Notre Dame. Additionally, Ubisoft has announced that it is giving away Assassin's Creed Unity for free on PC. It's available for download now via Uplay or through the Ubisoft Store. Video games can enable us to explore places in ways we never could have otherwise imagined. We hope with this small gesture, we can provide everyone an opportunity to appreciate our virtual homage to this monumental piece of architecture." Unity has a notoriously flawed launch on PC, earning 65% from Tom Senior's review, but the gesture here is very positive. Also in gaming news, Konami reveals full Castlevania Anniversary Collection lineup. Konami announced the full 8-game lineup for its upcoming Castlevania Anniversary Collection on Thursday, confirming the inclusion of classic games like Castlevania II, Simon's Quest, and one important rarity in Kid Dracula. Back in March, Konami announced 4 of the titles included in the Castlevania Anniversary Collection: the original Castlevania from the NES, Castlevania II, Belmont's Revenge for Game Boy, Castlevania III, Dracula's Curse for NES, and Super Castlevania IV for the Super Nintendo. Rounding out the collection will be Castlevania The Adventure for Game Boy, Castlevania II Simon's Quest for the NES, Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis, and Kid Dracula from the Famicom console. The last game on that list received a Game Boy remake sequel in North America, but the original Kid Dracula, aka Akamaju Special Boku Dracula-kun was only released on Famicom in Japan. Castlevania Anniversary Collection will be released on May 16th for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows PC via Steam, and Xbox One. The collection is priced at $19.99. Konami also released its Arcade Classics Anniversary Collection today. It includes one Castlevania spin-off, the 1988 game Haunted Castle, as well as Ajax, Nemesis, Vulcan Venture, Salamander, Thunder Cross, Scramble, and Twin Bay. It's available through the Nintendo Switch eShop, PlayStation Store, Steam, and Xbox Game Store for $19.99. Also in gaming news, Microsoft announces Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Last week, during Inside Xbox, head of gaming services Ben Decker announced a new subscription service that combines the benefits of Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass, called Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. The single membership subscription will cost $14.99 per month and gives subscribers access to the Xbox Game Pass library of over 100 games, as well as Xbox Live Gold's online services. The subscription will launch later this year and is not a required upgrade. Those subscribed to either Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass can keep their current memberships as they are, $10 per month apiece, or opt to apply any balance they've already paid toward an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. Members of the Xbox Insider Program are able to begin testing the service in select markets beginning last week. Also in gaming news, Fortnite Pro dropped from team after Cheatmaker turns him in. There's $30 million in prizes up for grabs in the big Fortnite World Cup, which means that the stakes are high for players competing in the tournament. Week 1 of qualifiers wrapped up last weekend, but not without some controversy. Jonathan Kosmala, a professional player representing Team Caliber, was dropped by the organization following accusations of cheating during the tournament. The allegation came from none other than the maker of the cheat himself, CBV. In a video where CBV explains his reasoning, the cheat architect explains that while he generally approves the use of his product, he draws the line at using cheats to win money. Kamala's intentions were not to cheat in the video game and, have fun, looking for a stream, stomp pubs, but to win money and scam other players who are playing legitimately, he says. At that point, it just comes down to morals, he continues. In the video, you can see that CBV is using a cheat that highlights player locations, even through walls. CBV also explains that he gave Kosmala a refund for purchasing his cheats, which CBV charges $60 for. The video goes on to showcase interactions and social media messages between the player and the cheat maker. Epic Games would not confirm to Polygon whether or not Kosmala is still allowed to compete in the World Cup, as the company does not comment on individual bans, but did say that the developer takes accusations like these seriously. The integrity of Fortnite competition is important to us, an Epic Games spokesperson said. We actively monitor all official competitions across a wide range of metrics, and all winners are subjected to additional monitoring for various forms of cheating, with thorough investigations taking place for any World Cup qualifying players. We'll be releasing a game integrity blog later this week detailing our ongoing and future efforts. That's pretty much all we have for gaming news this week. On to the next segment. In PlayStation news, rumor, PlayStation 5 price leaks and it ain't cheap. While we haven't heard anything from Microsoft or Sony Interactive Entertainment about when the next Xbox and PlayStation will release, a mountain of reports and leaks suggest the two next-gen systems are releasing next year, and the closer 2020 gets, the more information about the consoles leaks onto the internet. The latest comes way of an anonymous poster on Pastebin who claims to be a European developer working on an unannounced PlayStation 5 launch title, and who, apparently, is privy to a ton of inside information about Sony's next console, including its launch lineup and the release date of Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Of course, the source and claims seem dubious, but that's the rumor mill. That said, according to the leaker, the PlayStation 5 is allegedly launching in 2020 and will be $100 more than the PS4 at launch. That's right, the PS5 may be $500, which is $100 more than the PS4's launch price point of $400. Given that Sony has had so much success with the PlayStation 4, it seems wild to think that it will come in at a $100 more with the PS5. But given the current price of the PS4 Pro, it's possible. The leak claims that despite asking for $500, the PS5 will sell at a $100 loss in the beginning. As for the system itself, the leaker says it will be backward compatible, offer a new premium version of PlayStation Plus, which has been echoed in other leaks, pack a 2TB built-in hard drive, support 8K upscaling, and be compatible with a newly upgraded PlayStation VR headset. And of course, there's also a new controller, the DualShock 5, which will have a built-in camera. Now, it's important to remember this is all unofficial information. In fact, not only is it unofficial, but there's a very solid chance it's incorrect or fake. So take all of this with a huge grain of salt. If the PlayStation 5 actually is going to release in 2020, then we should hear about it within the next 12 months. In other words, we won't have to rely on leaks like this for much longer. That's pretty much all we have for PlayStation news this week. On to the next segment. Before we get to our next segment, a quick word from our sponsors. You know, when I'm hungry and I want something to eat, but there's nothing prepared in the house, it sucks. But with Blue Apron, I don't have to worry about having to go to the grocery store, portioning out the ingredients. Everything is done for me. You simply choose your meals. Their chef-designed recipes include balanced Mediterranean meals, quick one-pan dinners, and top-rated customer favorites. They guarantee the freshness of all their ingredients and deliver them in an insulated box right to your door. Following the step-by-step instructions, you'll experience the magic of cooking recipes that their chefs create with your family's tastes in mind. I know it's super easy for me to do. I can't cook worth a darn, but with their instructions and all the ingredients perfectly portioned out, I'm a chef. So if you want to try out Blue Apron for yourself, go to blue-apron.evyy.net/HVW podcast and you can save $60 over your first 3 boxes. Sign up now at blue-apron.evyy.net/HVW podcast. Again, that's blue-apron.evyy.net/HVW podcast and start cooking. In Xbox news, the Xbox One S All-Digital Edition is set to be revealed this week. German website WinFuture predicts an April 16th reveal for the Xbox One S All-Digital Edition with a full release to follow in May. It will apparently come packaged with 3 blockbuster titles, Forza Horizon 3, Minecraft, and Sea of Thieves, already installed on the console, saving you a bit of time with downloads once unboxed if you're eager to play. The reported retail price is €229, although nothing formal has been confirmed, and there's also no word on potential UK pricing. If this rumor turns out to be true, we can expect a reveal during last week's Inside Xbox stream, which is often used by Microsoft for exclusive announcements. The idea of a digital-only console isn't too far-fetched given Microsoft's growing focus on subscription services like Xbox Game Pass. For a monthly price, it provides players with a robust library of titles, which includes all new first-party exclusives. Of course, you can also purchase all other digital titles from the Xbox Live Marketplace, which is often ripe with discounts, free-to-play titles, and more goodies. That's pretty much all we have for Xbox news this week. On to the next segment. In movie news, Minecraft gets new spring 2022 release date from Warner Bros. 3 months after tapping Peter Sollett to direct, Warner Bros. Has settled on a new release date for Minecraft. The video game adaptation will now hit theaters March 4th, 2022. based on the globally popular video game in which players craft buildings, weapons, and even environments in a sandbox world. The film will follow a teenage girl and her unlikely group of adventurers who, after the malevolent Ender Dragon sets out on a path of destruction, must save their beautiful, blocky overworld. Vertigo's Roy Lee and John Berg are producing, with Jill Messick, who died in February 2018, still credited as a producer. Video game developer Mojang, which created the game, is also on board as a producer, and John Spates will serve as executive producer. Warner Bros. Acquired film rights to the game in 2014, but has seen talent and filmmakers come and go since. The film was previously set to be released in May 2019, but last year Rob McElhenney, sorry for butchering that name, dropped out of the project as writer and director, and the film was taken off the release schedule. Since its commercial release in November 2011, Minecraft has sold more than 154 million copies on PC, video game consoles, and mobile platforms, and is considered the second best-selling game of all time. That's pretty much all we have for movie news this week. On to the other show promos. As I mentioned in the intro to this episode, I have several promos from other shows that I've been listening to play for you. I've been doing a little networking the past week, trying to get my promo played on other people's shows, and in exchange I've promised to play their promos on my show. So I hope you enjoy these, and stay tuned afterwards for a quick notice as to how you can have the promo for your show played on Hazardous Verbal Waste. Enjoy!
Hey guys, we're Chuck and Brad. We're two comedians who do the Chuck and Brad podcast, a pop culture podcast based out of Rhode Island.
We just wanted to let you know that we're going on a short comedy tour called Chuck and Brad Reimagine the Avengers.
It's our own comedic retelling of the original Avengers movie, and we're touring the shows the same weekend that Avengers Endgame comes out. So come get a refresher and a new spin on the original Avengers movie before you go see Endgame.
Thursday, April 25th, we'll be in Hartford, Connecticut at the CT Comedy Theater with BJ Quagan, Andrew Morgan, and Stosh Makita.
Saturday, April 27th, we'll be in New York City at the Pit Loft with Impractical Jokers tour opener Jiggy, Impractical Jokers writer Casey Jost, and UCB veteran Lisa Kleinman.
Sunday, April 28th, we'll be at Laugh Boston with John Tilson, Logan O'Brien, Tyler Swain, and Dan Hall. All event info and tickets at chuckandbradpodcast.com.
Every night we'll have the comics open up the show and we'll close with our live retelling of The Avengers.
And for a tiny bit of background, we've done the podcast for 10 years. We've had on great guests like Jeff Tremaine, the director of the Jackass movies, the bands Bowling for Soup, Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, Big D and the Kids Table, and many, many more.
And if you're a big podcast listener, you might know me from Tell 'em Steve Dave. I work on film projects for the podcast Tell 'em Steve Dave, which is made up of Walton Bryant from AMC's Comic Book Men and Quinn from True TV's Impractical Jokers. I consistently do the film work for the Tell 'em Steve Dave Patreon. So come on out, support this very weird live comedy show, and hopefully more and more podcasts will start doing their own live alternative shows.
Once again, that's Chuck and Brad Reimagine the Avengers, New York City, Hartford, and Boston. See you at the end of the month. chuckandbradpodcast.com.
Looking into the darkness, you can feel your heart racing, the heaviness of sorrow and dread to take control, and the voice inside you says, "Don't go in there." Now join your host, Ashley Ernie and Bill Reed, as we venture down the weird and mysterious.
Find the Don't Go In There podcast on your favorite podcast listening app, and remember, don't go in there.
Well, if you would like to have your promo played on Hazardous Verbal Waste in exchange for playing my promo on your show, you can get a hold of me through Gmail. The email is hazardousverbal, that's HAZARDOUSVERBAL @gmail.com. Again, that's hazardousverbal @gmail.com. I hope to hear from any of you listeners who have your own shows and would like to cross-promote. That's pretty much all we have for this week. On to the final thoughts. Well, here we are at the end of another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I certainly have. Covered a lot of really cool news stories. A Minecraft movie coming out in 2 years, 3 years. That's going to be awesome. The new iteration of YuGiOh on the Nintendo Switch. I'm really excited to see what comes of that. A lot of really cool other stuff. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to the show. If you would like to contact Hazardous Verbal Waste, there are several ways. You can go to hazardousverbal.com and use the contact form on the contact page. You can email us at hazardousverbal@gmail.com. You can also get a hold of us on Facebook through the J North Media page. You can get a hold of us on Instagram through HVW Podcast or Hazardous Verbal. I'm not sure which. I'll have to check on that and make sure to put it in the show notes. You can also call us and leave a voice message through Skype. The Skype ID is Ichimoto1. That's ICHIMOTO1. That's pretty much all we have for this week. Until next week, this is Shirachan signing off. Peace.